Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Custom Tutorials Group. And let's jump right into with today's poster who wanted to be able to take away this background, all the white, and leave nothing but the black lines. Now, I wasn't told whether they wanted to keep the gray lines, which is going to be this line here and the gray background here. So I took it upon myself to recreate that from scratch. If I turn off the layer with our original photo, I have a background layer of pure white. And I'm going to turn on what I drew. And I just drew this from scratch with a brush tool and chose the gray from the original. And there it is. Now I'll just finish off this last piece here to show you how I did that. Is if we pick the brush, grab the eyedropper tool, I'm going to pick the gray that I used before, which is pretty close to what was there. The brush tool set down here at a hard brush at about 25 pixels wide. I'm just going to literally just draw this by hand like that. And then I could do like this. I can click, hold the shift down to do a straight line, come up here and click again, and that does a series of straight lines. That's really easy to do. I'm going to, and make sure that this is on its own new layer. I can click here, come up here, hold the shift down and click. That does that straight line. I'll click here once, come over here, hold down the shift and click. That does that line. And at the end here, because it kind of curves, I'll just do this by hand like this. And as long as it's pretty darn close, I think that's all that matters. And that's all it is for that layer. I'm going to turn that layer on and off. So now we don't have to worry about that layer later on. And if the poster didn't want that layer, that's okay. Just skip this portion of this tutorial and move on. So for now, I'm going to turn off this top layer with the gray, and I'm also going to turn off the background layer with the white. I created the white layer just to be able to show off this gray layer, so we don't need it. So I'll turn both of those off and just work with the original. So I'll choose that original, and the problem here with this original is it's very, very low quality. That's why it's going to be hard to get rid of all the white. If I zoom in, you're going to see what's happening. There's all kinds of little gray dots all over. The black is barely even solid, and that makes it really hard to use an eraser. So if I go ahead and grab an eraser, come down here, instead of a regular eraser, I'm going to choose the magic eraser, and you can change the tolerances and the opacity. I'm going to leave that at 10%, and if I click on the white to get rid of it, watch what happens. You can see it gets rid of a lot of the white, but there's a bunch of little jaggies and stuff that didn't get very well. And that's because the difference between the black and the white is not very defined because the photo is such low resolution. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. And let's go ahead and fix this photo first. I'm going to make sure I'm choosing the right layer, just the original photo. Come up here to Enhance, down to Adjust Lighting, to Brightness and Contrast. That will allow us to fix the photo. Now watch as I play with this contrast and the brightness. You're going to get rid of all these little gray dots that are here. Watch the contrast. If I make it less, all those little gray dots show up even more. But watch, if I bring it up all the way, you get rid of all those dots. It also gets rid of some of the gray, which is why I recreated the gray in the first place. Now I can take the brightness and bring the brightness down. That brings back all those little dots and jaggies from the bad low resolution. But as I bring it up, you get rid of all that stuff. Now, if we go ahead and try that same eraser, it should work a lot better. See that? Now it left some of little pieces here, but that's okay because I can undo that. Bring this tolerance out down here from 10 maybe to 20% and try that again. See what happens. Look at that. Look how solid that is. That's looking pretty good. Now that same magic eraser, we can come over here and just start clicking away at everything else throughout the whole project to get rid of everything we need to. I'm going to zoom out and see what else is left. There's not much left. You just kind of click, 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 click. Now that I got rid of most of the white, I've noticed that when we deleted the white out here, it got rid of some of the black here in between these lines here. Like you see the blacks here, but it's not over here. So we can try to refill that back in. If we go to the paint bucket, come down to the color palette, and scroll this all the way down to the bottom left, it's just pure black. And check the tolerance out here. I'm going to change that from 10 to 15. Come back in here, and between those lines, I'm going to click in here, and it just filled in everything we had deleted earlier. I'm going to look around, see where else we might be able to do that. Maybe right here. Look at that. See, there's little portions that we can fill back in with solid black. It may not be perfect, but it's the best thing we could do with this picture unless they give you a more solid picture to work with. And once you're done, there you go. All you got to do is come up here and save as and save it onto your desktop and choose Photoshop PDF. Change the name to PDF and hit save. It's going to ask you, how do you want your compression? We'll just leave it at JPEG medium and hit save as PDF. And finally, I can minimize Photoshop elements and then bring in my PDF. When I double click on it, it'll open up. And there it is in its glory and high contrast, perfect as a PDF. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Rich, calling it quits, saying over and out.